Hello everyone, this is Arbit. Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be going over week 5 of the ADL. It feels like it's been longer than 5 weeks, but, well, I guess that's because of the double week during the holidays. But, yeah, it feels like we've done more battles than 5, but we're going to go into our matchup for this week. And it's going to be a Magearna team, so I'm going to go and state the teams. Just as a revision, we have Urshifu Single Strike, Arceus Fire, Rillaboom, Latias, Mega Aggron, Blastoise, Nidoqueen, Comfey, Snorlax, Thundurus, Therian, and Hatchram. And our opponent is Magearna, Chien-Pao, Mega Garchomp, Tornadus Therian actually, Annihilape, Iron Moth, Yuxi, Lantern, Zarina, Audrino, and Masquerain. So, Magearna isn't actually that scary, to be honest, and I haven't really prepared an awful lot, simply because Arceus Fire is just that good. It kind of just sits on it for days, and like Magearna can't really do anything to it. It can chip it down, but if I run Recover, which as you guys can see, I do, then it's not the end of the world. Arceus Fire can also kind of take on Chien-Pao pretty decently, as long as it's not banded, but obviously it shouldn't be my primary answer to it, which you'll see my answers for later. And actually something that I was kind of scared of was Iron Moth. Iron Moth, while I do have answers for it, it does command prep from me to be able to prepare for it, at least in my opinion. And then, yeah, I guess Masquerain means webs, but I highly doubt he'd bring webs against my team because I do have really reliable removal options in Defog Latias, Rapid Spin Blastoise, I believe Comfey gets Defog too, so yeah, I doubt it. Alright, so we're going to get into the match. Not the match, the team. We're starting off here with Arceus Fire, Divine Flame, with Jolly Nature, Max Attack, 80 HP, and Speed to outspeed something. Flare Blitz, Earthquake, Dragon Dance, and Recover. Pretty simple stat thing. Fire Ground is perfect coverage into his team. Not much more needs to be said about that. Dragon Dance I just thought would be really good because if I can outspeed, for example, the Chien-Pao, then he's kind of forced into Sucker Punching or Ice Sharding, and he simply might just not bring Sucker Punch. And if he does bring Sucker Punch, that doesn't even beat me because I have Recover. So yeah, once I get like 2 DDs up, this thing just beats the entire team on paper, so that's worth looking out for. Although I do want to say that I've brought this set so many times, there are probably going to be, my opponents probably will have preparations for it, so we'll see how that goes. But that's still fine. This is still the best set I could think of. It's just really great at breaking. Next up we got Presto. So our Comfeys, the Kowloon Comfeys, are making its debut with Comfey this week with the Kebia Berry, Triage, Calm Mind, Dreaming Kiss, Leech Seed, and U-Turn. Sorry guys. Draining Kiss is really good into this team, especially after Calm Mind. My Triage outspeeds Chien-Pao's priority, so it can actually beat Chien-Pao. It also beats Mega Garchomp. I don't need to worry about Rough Skin because it's a Mega Garchomp, unless they want to stay on Mega, which is probably better for me. It also is good against Annihilape. I can Calm Mind on Annihilape and then do massive damage back, so I don't have to worry too much about Rage Fist. And then, yeah, there are some mons this doesn't hit, which are Iron Moth and Magearna mainly, and I guess Queenly Majesty Zarina, but I doubt Zarina comes. Arceus Fire is just too good into it, and even if it came, I'm not worried about it. And Magearna and Iron Moth I can kind of punish with Leech Seed into a U-Turn. At least that's the plan. Obviously an Iron Moth, it outspeeds and just Sludge Waves, so which is why I have a Kebia Berry here, so I can get a Leech Seed off and then put it on a timer. It's not the best timer in the world, but it's just kind of there to make sure Comfey isn't a sitting duck against them, because I do want to bring Comfey this week. It does look decent into this team, so just being able to chip down the theoretical answers to it is going to be good, especially because those theoretical answers are probably worth more than Comfey is in this matchup, so trading that isn't the worst. Next up we got Urshifu. Pressure Point is making his return after sitting on the bench for week 4 with the Choice Scarf, we got Fire Punch, Wicked Blow, U-Turn, Sucker Punch. I realized I should probably start running stuff that isn't Choice Scarf Urshifu, but I just think it's really good in this matchup. I really want to be able to outspeed stuff like non-Mega'd Garchomp, Iron Moth, Chien-Pao, stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't need CC, honestly, because Fire Punch and U-Turn collectively do well enough into Chien-Pao, and fighting coverage isn't that good into his team anyway. So dark moves are pretty good, and the only things that resist that would be Magearna, Chien-Pao, and that's it. Magearna and Chien-Pao. So Fire Punch is good into both of those. I do kind of get walled by, for example, Annihilate, which is a bit of a problem, and I don't do well into Tornadus Therian. I do get to Choice Scarf Wicked Blow it, which is probably good enough damage into it, which is pretty good chip, and can put it in range of other stuff, but this thing is kind of here just to break as well, not really an end game potential like Mon. It's just here to kind of just click Wicked Blow a lot and then break open for our win condition, which will be showing up soon. Next up, we got Queen of Thorn, the Nidoqueen, with Assault Vest, Sheer Force, Earth Power, Shadow Ball, Ice Beam, Focus Blast. This is another breaker. I just felt like going hyper offense here because, well, not hyper offense, but really good offense into this team. I just felt like letting Annihilate build up, letting Iron Moth set up, or anything else like that would be a bad idea. And I don't want to be going into a setup Magearna, for example, which could be quite annoying. Assault Vest is there so I can survive Iron Moth attacks and eat them up. This is my answer to Iron Moth, basically. It can also answer stuff like Tornadus Therian, Magearna if it wants to, so pretty good Mon. Earth Power, Shadow Ball, Ice Beam, Focus Blast is perfect. Coverage, I believe, into everything. Focus Blast is probably for something. Let me see what it's for. It's probably for Chien-Pao or Audino. It's for Audino. I remember now. So, yep. Next up's going to be our win condition, the Cash Money, the Blastoise, with White Herb, Torrent, Shell Smash, Liquidation, Earthquake, and Ice Punch. Physical, Blastoise is a thing. If you guys look at its stats, it's actually got 83 attack compared to 85 special attack. It can actually run both, which is pretty funny. But yeah, this week, if you just look at his team, he has no answers to Shell Smash Blastoise. The only answer is Lantern, and Physical Blastoise has the benefit of running Earthquake, which is basically eats up any, just destroys a Lantern. So this set theoretically just wins off rip, theoretically. So that's really good. However, of course, I do want to scout for stuff like Shuca Berries, and just chip stuff down, because really defensive options like defensive Magearna can actually be able to take this down maybe, or at least bring it to the point where Chien-Pao can Sucker Punch it. So I just want to save this for last, basically. But theoretically, this can win, depending on the sets, and just might as well just, make it... What am I saying? I might as well just chip everything down before I go for this option, because it doesn't really cost me anything. Lastly, we got Eternal Kingdom, the Mega Aggron, here to basically wall Magearna and Chien-Pao and Tornadus Therian. Mega Aggronite, Sturdy, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Toxic Protect. Earthquake is just good coverage into everything, and this lets me get up rocks, which is really good into Iron Moth and Chien-Pao and Tornadus Therian, and there's a lot of stuff that justifies bringing rocks. And also, if I can get up rocks as he gets up Sticky Webs, it might incentivize him to use Defog on Tornadus Therian, because as you guys can see, I didn't bring removal. Stealth Rock, Earthquake, and Toxic Stalling just seems pretty good into this team. The only things that don't get Toxic are Magearna and Iron Moth. I can Toxic stuff that's really annoying like Yuxi and Lantern, which could get annoying, and Tornadus Therian, of course. So I just thought Toxic Protect is a pretty good set to bring this week. Alright, so we'll get into the battle then. Okay, we're in the battle, and as you guys can see, quite a few surprising things. Annihilate didn't come, Iron Moth didn't come, and instead Yuxi and Lantern came. Lantern, I mean, I'm prepared enough for it, but Yuxi, I don't really know what it does. It just it's as one of the late guardians, it has a lot of options it can go for. It has insane coverage. It can run a lot of utility moves and stuff like that. So that's we're gonna have to see what it does. So basically, we're just gonna look at going into the battle and see how things go. We lead Urshifu. I decided to lead Urshifu because I just felt like I wanted to lead like what was good into this team, right? Urshifu kind of just broke holes into everything that it needed to. Magearna, obviously, Fire Punch doesn't do an awful lot, so I would just U-turn into Aggron, which basically lets me Mega, which is pretty good. So that's not really a problem there. Yeah, so Wicked Blow. So here, actually, he leads Garchomp. I'm gonna be honest, I'm really bad at remembering what the Megas are, and I really thought that was a regular Garchomp. So I was like calculating, and I thought, okay, well, Garchomp doesn't actually 2 KO me here. It does after Mega, which I forget about, but I just decided that Wicked Blow is good because it does like 40-something% to it, and that's really good value chip because because why? It was because Arceus is actually really good into this team once Garchomp is down. Really, the only thing that can actually take on my Arceus's attack combo is probably bulky full health Yuxi and Garchomp. So once this guy's low, it's actually really good. So I decide that we're gonna stay in. He's gonna Mega, and I'm gonna Wicked Blow. So Wicked Blow does 45%. I believe that proves its max HP. I forget. Or really high HP anyway. So Wicked Blow goes into it again as he goes for another Earthquake, and I go down. It seems like it's a questionable trade, but honestly I like it because Urshifu isn't doing an awful lot this game. It was really good here to break Iron Moth. It was pretty yeah, basically it was good into Iron Moth, and Iron Moth didn't come, so really this guy can just be setup fodder for Magearna a lot of the time, so I just didn't want that to happen. And Garchomp being low is valuable, really valuable, because Arceus is now really free to kind of just do whatever it wants. And also Nidoqueen is far more freer as well, because it doesn't have to worry about getting one shot by Earthquake anymore, and can just kind of click moves every time it comes in. As you can see, I'm going to finish off with Comfey because there's no reason not to. Comfey has priority moves and outspeeds, so there's no reason to not go Comfey. But I do anticipate the switch, and I decide to go for a Leech Seed because I felt like that Draining Kiss was really telegraphed. There was no reason why he wouldn't sack. He would just sack it right there, because Comfey is obviously just going to go for that, and I think he's going to want to set up on Magearna. So, sorry, set up Magearna or something on Presto, the Comfey. So I decided that Leech Seed is probably the best option to make sure he can't do that forever, and I make the right call. Leech Seed starts sapping him down. He decides to switch out again back into Garchomp as I click U-turn, because I expect him to not want to stay in. I'm not sure he can do anything to Comfey that's worth all the Leech Seed chip, so U-turn is free, and he goes back into Garchomp and decides actually to sack it. That's actually fine for me because Arceus Fire just freely gets to attack here. Here I almost clicked Earthquake because I didn't want Flare Blitz for Coil, but I really didn't want to stop to like catch someone off. I really didn't want to like give him a free switch, and there were really two options here. I could click Flare Blitz or Earthquake, and Earthquake let in Tornadus or Yuxi in for free, whereas Flare Blitz basically let nothing in for free. He wasn't going to go into Lantern. I already was going to kill it Oko's Garchomp anyway from that health, so yeah, basically Yuxi came in as I click Flare Blitz, as we'll see, and I get a really good 42% off. Now here it's a bit weird because Yuxi, I wasn't really sure what it was going to do. I was thinking like, well, this is kind of scary, what can it do to me? Does it get any attacks? But then I thought about it and I was like, well, it doesn't actually get anything that can hit fire types really well, at least that I remember. So I just feel whatever I was gonna do, like I feel kind of confident just setting up in Dragon Dance because I'm faster than it. If it taunts me, that's fine. I kill it next turn, and yeah, I just feel like going for it. And besides, this isn't my sweeping option, so it's fine to just set up the Dragon Dance. He decides to Thunder Wave. This is actually kind of annoying. This is probably like a really scary move. And And actually, I'm gonna be honest here, I didn't realize Yuxi got Foul Play, which is a move that would have destroyed me here. So that's it's a good thing he didn't bring it, because I would have probably just dropped to it. But if he did reveal Foul Play, I probably would have lived. And to be honest, I still had Mega Aggron in the back, so it's not the scariest thing in the world. So yeah, I decided I'm gonna Dragon Dance again. I'm gonna try and Dragon Dance to the point where I outspeed Chien-Pao, which is +3. So that's what I elect to do. And as you guys can see, I'm really not getting paralyzed at all. Lantern comes in, and this kind of proves to me this is Sugar Berry, which is a smart bring on his part, because not many people will anticipate the physical Blastoise, and he did, so that's really good prep on my opponent's part. I decide to go for an Earthquake anyway. It's my strongest attack, so Earthquake just does a lot of damage into the Lantern, and brings it down low, but I'm not going to kill it. And he goes for a Scald. I don't need to worry about burns, I'm a fire type, so I just decide to try and get the Recover off. The chances of me getting a Recover was pretty good, especially because I had two attempts to do that before I would just drop dead to Scald, so that was okay. I decide to get back to full health, there's no reason not to, and then I believe I click Earthquake? Yes, I do. Earthquake, that just finishes off the Lantern. That's actually really... So now, looking at this, this is really good for Blastoise. Blastoise, Yuxi is low, Garchomp is non-existent, Tornadus is... yeah, and everything else kind of dies. Magearna can be scary, but it can't do an awful lot back apart from like Flare Cannon, which I'm not, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure it kills, but it might. But basically, if I force Magearna with Blastoise, that's not the worst in the world. I can just go straight into Nidoqueen and then go from there, which is pretty good. He decides to go into Garchomp. Good play on his part, because basically he's just banking on me paralyzing at this point to not just get 6-0'd. And then he goes into Chien-Pao. I still don't get paralyzed. I believe this is like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 turns in a row, I'm paralyzed and I don't get fully paralyzed already. I take a lot of recoil. I'm trying to maintain my health here, but I am fully aware that I don't need Arceus to win this game. At this point, it's pretty much over. So I just decided to click Flare Blitz here, which I finally get paralyzed after 8 powers in a row. He decides to shift gear, revealing he's probably a stored power set. I get paralyzed again as he goes for stored power. Smart play on his part, because honestly I could just kill him at any point in this time, so he has to be really risky. Although to be honest, like, he kind of needed another shift gear or a Calm Mind to beat me, because well, because why? He needs another Calm Mind because, well, Stored Power doesn't kill anyway, so he really needed to Calm Mind that turn, but it doesn't really matter either way, because yeah, because I get brought down low, and then I decide to click Flare Blitz. Now, I could have clicked Earthquake. Sorry, my dog's barking at something. I could have clicked Earthquake here. I think like that might have been a misplay. I just didn't know what it would click. I just didn't know whether it killed, and I probably should have just sat down and count that. But either way, I would have died the turn after, because both Yuxi and Tornadus are floating Pokemon, so I would be forced to Flare Blitz there, unless I want to risk paralysis and just, recover again. I could technically have 6-0'd here. It's just, with all the power chances going haywire, I just really felt like it was better to just let this drop, and then finish this game off with other Pokemon. So Magearna goes down now, and Arceus goes down, giving me free momentum into whatever I want. And now, as you guys can see, Aggron is completely free. There's nothing to beat it. So I just decide to Toxic, stall them a bit as he U-turns out. And I'm going to speed this up a bit, because it's pretty much the end game. I just Toxic, and there's nothing that can be done. Aggron is just too bulky, they have nothing to break it. Thunder Wave comes out. I decide to actually set up and finish this with Comfey, because I want to give Comfey a kill after all the work it's done. Breaking the Garchomp and chipping the Magearna, I don't think it really mattered in the end, but Comfey at least gets paralyzed, and actually gets paralyzed, so I don't know. Maybe that's retribution for my opponents. I feel bad for it, but yeah. Yuxi actually is killed by Aggron there because of Toxic Chip, but here Comfey is going to get the finishing off with Tornado Therian. So that concludes the game. It's 4-0 victory. A little bit hacksy. There was a lot of times when I should have not been able to move, and then afterwards I just got paralyzed like 3 times in a row. So yeah, that was an interesting game. Foul play Yuxi was something my opponent apparently took off last minute, so that would have probably made a different game. But really, that all that would have done, in my opinion, was meant that I would have to use my other 3 Pokemon that I didn't really use. So who knows what would have happened. I felt like the matchup was pretty in my favor, just because Arceus Fire is just so good into a lot of his top mons. And yeah, I don't know. My opponent played really well, though. It's quite unfortunate with all the haxing, and Thunder Wave was the best play there on Arceus. But to be honest, I think Arceus probably should have just stayed in and set up anyway, because, like, I was going to scout, and Aggron, like, I could have gone into Aggron, but then that would have, like, killed the momentum. And I really I liked maintaining the momentum I had on at the start of the game, so setting up on Arceus really wasn't that bad of an option. Maybe in the future I should run like a Run with Therapy on Comfey, which actually is banned. I mean Heal Bell, because Comfey's so good it gets both moves. Because you might just want to run 16 PP Heal Bell sometimes, you know. I don't know how much PP Heal Bell gets actually. Basically, I'm gonna one day run Heal Bell and the Run with Therapy on Comfey, and you can't stop me. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you guys next week for the ADL.